what happened was when I got there, the dad was, he kind of seemed a little upset, you know? He was just like, hey, you know, you guys getting a late start today, huh? And I'm like, yeah, you know. And as I was about to, you know, explain, then he said like, well, you know, it would have been nice if you communicated that with me because I rushed all the way home from work. How's it going, guys? My name is Jerry with Aesthetic Auto Detailing here in West Covina, California. And today we're going to talk about how one of my clients was kind of upset with me in the beginning, how I turned it around to be a positive experience, and I actually got more business out of it.
So Jerry, was it a new customer or a repeat customer?
So I've worked on the on one of his kids' cars before. I would say maybe around 2-3 years ago. I hadn't heard from them in a little bit. They contacted me. They said like, hey, you know, we have 3 vehicles that we would like to get done with you. Is there a way where you can kind of shoot us like a deal for, you know, since we're gonna do 3 cars? I usually kind of don't do that depending on the like service. I get the package that they get, but they actually got bigger services for all 3 vehicles. So instead of just kind of doing like, you know, 400 to 450 depending on the condition of the vehicle, I gave them base price on all 3 vehicles. You know, because I locked in guaranteed money. It worked out. It worked out for all of us.
Hey, does this happen a lot where somebody books with you and then years later they hit you back up?
Oh yeah, it happens a lot.
Why does that happen? Like, do they forget about you or do they only want you for emergencies?
One, I think some people, they don't really care about their cars like others do. Another thing could be, you know, sometimes they don't want to spend the money. I do have some clients that for sure, they wait until their vehicle gets really bad and then they decide like, okay, I gotta get this done. One thing about me is I never let, you know, what I do, like for example, if I had an all-nighter, I never let it affect my work because I'm very big on my business. You know, I spent 7 years building this thing. This thing is my baby. So regardless of how much sleep I got, how sick I'm feeling, I always make sure I come through for my clients. So what happened was I got home, I would say maybe around 5 o'clock, 6:30 in the morning. When I was walking into my house, I noticed all the cars were like super wet. I think it rained the night before. So I knew that I had to do like a bunch of like, you know, shampooing, all this stuff for the interiors. So I contacted the client. I told them like, hey, you know what, just so you know, cars are very wet right now and it's super cold. I don't suggest that we start as early as we thought we were going to, just because I want to make sure that everything, you know, dries properly. And they're like, okay, no problem, sounds good. So I kind of pushed back the time a little bit. But what happened was when I got there, the dad was, he kind of seemed a little upset, you know? He was just like, hey, you know, you guys getting a late start today, huh? And I'm like, yeah, you know. And as I was about to, you know, explain, then he said like, well, you know, it would have been nice if you communicated that with me because I rushed all the way home from work, which I had no idea he was in a rush home, you know? So I felt really bad. And that's when I knew like, all right, we got to make sure we do a good job for them. You know, they're spending good money, they're getting 3 vehicles done, and it worked out. It worked out for us because he was very happy with the work. Not only that, but his neighbors, I guess, were watching and they actually came over and checked out the cars. His next door neighbor ended up booking 2 cars with me. And then his neighbor across the street had a Mercedes that he once worked on and they scheduled an appointment with me as well.
Now, there's some things in that story that you did differently than other detailers. Number 1, you just let him kind of vent.
Yeah.
A lot of detailers, a lot of people in general will defend themselves and kind of get offended. You know, the customer's complaining. Why don't you do that?
Well, one, it kind of was my bad. It was my fault. Don't get me wrong. I kind of did want to defend myself, but at the same time, I'm running a business. You know, when you're running a business, I feel like emotions need to, you know, be let go out of the window and you handle your business. So I knew that I had to, for sure, 100% get those 3 vehicles done that day. They were all big jobs. And so I didn't want to run behind. So I actually called backup. So it was already 3 of us and I called in a 4th guy and we took care of all 3 vehicles.
All right, Jerry, for the detailers that don't know, how important is keeping it cool with customers?
It's very important because I feel like in my situation, I've had clients get mad at me and I just kind of remained my cool and I just did my job and they're very happy with it. And I've actually had people end up apologizing to me. and like, oh, you know what, I was just a little stressed, you know, like I noticed you didn't get mad, like thank you for that. And you know, sometimes I don't think that they're gonna notice things like that, but if they do, you know, that's important. Hey, but let me know, has the client ever gotten mad at you? And if they did, how did you handle it? Let me know down in the comments below.
How's business going for you, man? How are you pretty busy?
It's great, man. I'm right now I'm about my second week straight working right now. Once the weather cleared up, I mean, I still had clients, but it wasn't as busy. But man, I've been posting on Instagram like every day, like, hey, I'm booked, you know, kind of letting people know, like, start booking for next week. I'm still getting the DMs, and I know, and I could tell who's reading them, so it's the people, but you know, I appreciate it, and I still been squeezing them in somehow. Been making it happen, man.
Well, you actually have a lot of help.
Yeah.
Friends, family. When do you know, or how do you know when it's time to call reinforcements?
I try to think about, you know, like where we're at in the detail, and then if I have other clients, I start to think about it. I'm like, you know what, I'd rather call reinforcements to get the job done versus me having to call a client like, hey, sorry, I didn't get to you. One, it looks bad. You know, you told the client you're gonna be there and you don't. A lot of them are understanding, but you can just come across that they'd rather just, I don't want it anymore. So this is where like the boss mentality, you know, the entrepreneurship comes in, because you got to think, okay, am I gonna just take the loss on the money today and make sure that all my clients are happy, or should I still make sure that I'm making my money and just forget the other clients, you know? So usually I'd rather just take the loss, but if all my clients are happy and they keep on returning to me, that's more money coming into the business later on.
And now you have different type of help. Yeah, friends, family, and other detailers. There's another detailer out there. Summer's right around the corner. They're gonna get busy. Who should they ask for help? Friends, family, or other detailers, in your opinion?
I would say maybe friends and family. You know, you can't go wrong with people that you're really cool with, because you can rely on them. But at the same time, in my experience, I've had a couple friends that just doesn't work out with them, man. Yeah, some of them, hey man, you know, they want like top dollar. They don't even know what they're doing, you know? Sometimes you gotta, I don't want to say you gotta call them out on it, but you gotta be real with them. Like, look, dude, you don't even know how to do this yet. You know, let's learn, get you in, and then we can talk about better pay.
Now, talking about pay, other detailers, what has been your experience? Are they easy to work with, hard to work with? And we're not just talking about one person, but in general, your thoughts.
I would say in general, maybe they might be a little hard to work with, especially if like they're working for you. I got lucky. The guy that's working with me, he just started his business not too long ago, so he's fairly new to it, so he's been learning a lot. I did notice that he has some techniques, you know, or maybe even some bad habits, you know, from like the other detailer. So that's something we got to work on, and he's improved a whole lot. But I feel like if you are working with somebody that's like well established, and then they just kind of tag along, they're probably either going to be doing better than you, or you're just going to notice that you guys have different work ethic, work techniques. But if you guys are both getting the results that you guys need, it really doesn't matter.
That's all that matters, right? The results at the end of the day.
Exactly. Yeah. If you guys both are getting it done, then hey. But let me know, who would you guys rather hire first? Friends, family, or other detailers? Let us know that in the comments below. And that's how I handle when my clients are upset with me. You know, just give them that great customer service, and they'll always be back. And if you guys have any questions, make sure to comment down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay blessed.